when my friend died, me and his best friend from school, Rupert, went to see him at the funeral directors because just Rupert just wanted to kind of say goodbye to him, and the reason for that is kind of like it's a bit weird, but Rupert and I discovered his body, so we kind of didn't want that memory of him the way we found him. Do you know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Mm.
Um, and but the one thing neither Rupert and I did was like, do you know, I think I'll put this on my Instagram story. Yeah, it's just like,
Mm.
just
Yeah.
not,
A
didn't
day in the
it?
life of me. Today I'm at a funeral. Today I'm
Yeah, well,
weeping over my dead
today I'm
mate's
visiting my
casket.
dead mate before he gets cremated. Um,
Yeah.
and it never, it just didn't occur to him. And you know, we had Rupert and I mean, the three of us were in the room, obviously. Well, the three of us, me and Rupert, a dead body, but there was a private conversation, and like, I'll be honest, one of the things I said to Nick, who was the person that passed, is I don't want to be rude, mate, but you look like a really bad waxwork model of who you used to be, right? But that's kind of the humor we shared. Each other.
Yeah.
It was always a bit dark like that. And it was, it's just like, it's you, but it doesn't look like you. And I couldn't, and I just kept thinking of those like really bad Madame Tussauds waxworks that you see. And it's just like, mate, that's what you look like. It's not even your hair. It's not how he had his hair or anything. They're just like, did nobody give these people a picture? Do you know what I mean? And I
Well,
was
I said
telling
to
Nick
you, didn't
this.
I, when I showed you that this clip in the first place, I'm like, is that even Charlie's body? Because his hands look like a waxwork. But you
Yeah, and that's
told
what I was
me
saying to you.
that
Yeah,
actually
that's kind of what they
that's
look like.
how a
Yeah.
dead body looks.
Yeah. And
So
I remember taking somebody to go and see their son who died. And again, it just, with the makeup on and a lot depends on how long they've been dead for as well, you know. Um, but there's something about it that doesn't look real. Like no pun intended, but the life has left their body.
yeah.
And so just to see, so having been in those situations, I realized that somebody set up a camera, somebody set up the lights, because there's no shadows, perfect light. It's just like, this is a film production made to look like, because it wasn't somebody getting out their phone.
Mm.
It just like, hang on a second. This is truly bizarre. And as you know from conversations we've had, I'm struggling to understand it because I kept thinking about how does this help Turning Point. You were like, no, it's about Erika. And
So
it's just
we'll go
like,
into that in a bit because that's where I think this conversation goes with regards to the questions that are hanging over us before we finish our Erika Kirk section because I don't want to spend too much more time on it because it does get into that territory where we're just bringing somebody down for the sake of bringing somebody
yeah,
down
no,
and
I
that's
agree
actually
completely.
just what I want to avoid. But at the same point, I do like to have just a discussion based in actually what is it that we are seeing and is it genuine or is it performative?
I can't see that it's genuine. I can't because, and the only reason I say that is because you and I know from doing films, from doing promotional videos in various different businesses that we've worked in, various different people with social media accounts that we've both helped or discussed. And I know you've been to some seminars and stuff and listened to people and stuff. So we know how it works. We know what goes on behind the camera lens.
Mm.
And everything about that is, oh, somebody actually filmed this. Somebody turned up, but this was a preconceived, preset. Here's the angle, blah blah blah.
Do you know what
And
it reminds me of? It's like the contrast between going to a Roman Catholic mass where it's quite somber. It's just a Sunday
yeah,
morning worship. It's quite standard. Doesn't really mean anything. Just people turning up and kind of doing their weekly worship, as it were. To versus an evangelical kind of Christian rock church where everyone's up
yeah,
in arms and it's like, yeah, praise the Lord and everything's great and life's going to be
yeah,
fantastic. And it's the contrast between the two. And it's like, so I've been in those evangelical churches. My friend was she's definitely massively down that road and she invited me to one but that's the second time I'd been to one. I'd done one as a kid as well where another friend of mine um when I was about 15. She invited me along and I went, and I found both instances, this is over 20 years apart, equally disturbing. But
Yeah,
it was in the same place, but the place had been changed. So that's the really weird thing about it. It was exactly the same church, but the church looked different on both occasions, but then it's 20 years apart. And so the church had been modernized. Whereas if you go into a Roman Catholic church 20 years apart, it's going to look pretty much exactly the same. A
yeah,
lot of them are 800, 1500 to 1500 years old, and they all look identical. They look like they did when they were first built. But the
yeah,
evangelical churches, they don't. They modernize, they upgrade all the time.
yeah. And it's I couldn't help but think it was a pre-scripted, and only for the benefit of putting it on social media.
Well, there's that, and the other point in that video was the where she goes into Charlie Kirk's studio to talk about the loss, and she reaches over to his chair, and you can see, oh, that's performative, but that's like 49 hours after he died, and she's there fully glamorous. But even if you watch the look on her face and where she's supposed to be emotional, you can see it's all on cue. And there's no missing it. It's all on cue. And the reason I said to you for this video, let's watch the Amber Heard one as well, is because Amber Heard performed in exactly the same way in court with Johnny Depp.
Also, just quickly, I just want to just track back slightly. The other thing that's disturbing with the Erika Kirk performances is, as you know, I've coached enough people with traumatic experiences to know how they respond when you start talking about it.
Mm,
Do you know what I mean? Whether they've lost somebody or whether they were abused by somebody, but 49 hours after the whole world seen your husband get assassinated,
mm.
and you look like you could be going out on a dinner date, you're there, and it's not the experience I have of people who have lost somebody that's dear to them. The people that I've spoken to and helped in therapy who have lost somebody that's dear to them, the reason they're talking to me is because 18 months down the line, they don't understand why it still hurts so much, and why
Yeah.
they break into uncontrollable bouts of tears, why they cry themselves to sleep, why they can't let anything go. This isn't what I'm witnessing. And it's not like, the people that I have helped in the past, that they, like I said, because some of them are years later, and they still, when they talk about the loss of somebody that's dear, that they're inconsolable. They're heartbroken. That wasn't an inconsolable heartbroken. It's not my experience of it.
No, but it's not mine either. I mean, we're both old enough to know that we suffered loss, so we can both say from personal experience and from seeing other people go through stuff as well. It's
Yeah,
the first week is freaking difficult because it's a whole adjustment period in something that you wasn't expecting to happen. So that adjustment period, and it just messes with your head. And it doesn't make sense, and it can't make sense because the earth literally just been pulled from under you, and it's like you're floating in nothingness all on your own, and
yeah,
nothing makes sense. That's a normal feeling. How that it manifests in behavior, yes, can vary, but that's the normal feeling. And that feeling can last, as you say, years. Some people
yeah.
can
It
get,
doesn't. It
it
doesn't
can be a few
manifest
months
like an
and they
estate
start to,
agent showing you around a new property.